Bon matin, Mesdames, Messieurs. Bienvenue à ce point de presse de l'opposition officielle du Canada à la Chambre des communes. Chers amis, nous les conservateurs, nous sommes ici pour travailler pour le bien des Canadiens. Et c'est pourquoi nous sommes prêts à travailler ce dimanche-ci pour étudier à fond le projet de loi C2. Vous savez que le gouvernement a déposé comme premier projet de loi le projet de loi C2 qui vise certaines mesures financières majeures. Des dépenses de près de 17 milliards de dollars, 45 programmes directement touchés. Nous avons un travail de parlementaire à faire. Actuellement, la proposition est d'en débattre lundi, mardi, et puis essayer d'adopter ça rapidement. Nous estimons qu'il faut aller au fond des choses pour un projet de loi semblable. Souvenez-vous que dans des situations exceptionnelles, des lois ont été adoptées qui ont fait en sorte que ça a généré le scandale We Charity, où plus de 900 millions de dollars étaient prêts à être donnés à une entreprise proche et amicale au gouvernement libéral. Ça n'a plus sa place. C'est pourquoi, comme parlementaires, nous les conservateurs, nous demandons d'étudier à fond ce projet de loi. En conséquence, nous avons pris contact ce matin avec les autres groupes parlementaires, il y a quelques minutes à peine, pour les informer de notre proposition. Nous souhaitons que la Chambre des communes se réunisse en comité plénier ce dimanche et passer tout le temps nécessaire, toute la journée s'il le faut, pour permettre d'aller au fond des choses, de poser des questions précises et pertinentes aux ministres libéraux. Nous, les conservateurs, on est là pour travailler pour les Canadiens. Nous demandons la collaboration de tous pour qu'on puisse faire notre travail de parlementaire correctement. Nous avons vu au cours des derniers temps, au cours des derniers mois, des dépenses inconsidérées, des dépenses irresponsables et surtout non contrôlées. Notre devoir, comme parlementaire, est de demander des comptes au gouvernement. Nous voulons le faire ce dimanche-ci, en comité plénier à la Chambre des communes.
Good morning. Conservatives are putting Canadians first. We propose working over the weekend to make sure we get this legislation right. Parliament owes it to Canadians to do the serious work of making sure Canadians get the support they need. Canadians need to know that the support they depend on is coming. Our proposal will get it done right and get it done on time. The Liberals have tried to rush legislation through without scrutiny before. Our plan allows for proper attention to be paid to get it done right. Canadians cannot afford for Parliament to get this wrong. Thank you.
Good morning. Building on what has been said, C2 is an important piece of legislation, but there are billions of dollars and dozens of government programs that need to be reviewed. Canadians cannot afford for Parliament to get this wrong, and I think we are willing. Parliamentary committee does not normally sit on weekends, but this calls for a special sitting and working through the weekend to make sure we provide the proper scrutiny that any piece of legislation, particularly when we're dealing with the amount of money and the number of programs that are at stake and being discussed here. So we are proposing, this is important for Canadians, but it's also important to get this right. We look at what happened with the WE scandal. We have a finance minister, a former finance minister of Canada, that's not even a member of Parliament anymore. And that happened because of the tough scrutiny, the tough questions that our opposition was able to ask and dig and clarify and get the proper information for. So we believe our proposal does balance things out. It addresses what Canadians are looking for, but allows ourselves as opposition to go through the legislation, to ask those tough questions, and make sure we get the best legislation for Canadians possible. And look forward to any questions you may have on that. Thank you.
We'll now take some questions, starting with questions on the phone. Quick reminder, one question, one follow-up per reporter. Nous allons maintenant prendre des questions, commençant par les questions au téléphone. Un petit rappel, une question suivie par journaliste seulement. Operator, do we have a first question?
We do not have a question at this time.
Thank you. We'll go back to the room then.
Stephanie Levitz, the Canadian Press. I just wonder in English if you could clarify what your proposal is. I think, Monsieur Deltell, you said committee of the whole for the entire weekend, and so what is it you're hoping to do with that? Do you fundamentally agree with the principles that are in the legislation? What are your issues? Flesh it out a bit for us.
Well, obviously, we want support for Canadians. This is what we are here for. But on the other hand, we have to do our job. So our proposal, and we are open to discussion with especially with the government. Our proposal is to sit in the weekend. We have a plan for Sunday by a committee of the whole, who is, I think, the easiest way to achieve that and the efficient way to achieve that. As you know, if we want to create a new committee or something, there will be a lot of talk about that, and technically speaking, it will be tough. We can do that just like that with the committee of the whole. Our goal is to be sure that we are working hard for Canadians. Our goal is to be sure that Canadians deserve a real true parliamentarian working correctly. And this proposition of goodwill proposition for the best of the future of this country, and especially for the Canadian worker, is to be sure that as parliamentarian, we can take the government for account and certainly be sure that each and every penny will be spent will be correctly. So we will see what the discussion will conduct, but we are open to discussion. We have seen that for the unanimous consent for the new rules of the new parliament, we have broke a good deal for Canadians. We intend to have that same kind of collaboration with our counterparts, and we let them know that where we stand. But our goal is to be sure that on Sunday we will spend all time necessary to go in deep in this important piece of legislature. We have a job to do for Canadians. We intend to do it.
And if you get that on Sunday, are you saying then that you would act as you have with previous pieces of COVID legislation and give consent to pass it all in one day?
Well, we will see where we will go with that. I mean, this is serious business here. We have to see exactly what its content. This is part of democracy, you know. You cannot say, yes, I will vote, or yes, no, I will not vote, without going deep in that situation. Obviously, as a opposition party, maybe we will table some amendments. This is part of our job. Maybe also maybe the government will recognize that there is some mistake in this. You know, the nice expression is the devil is in the details. Le diable est dans les détails. So this is why we have to be very serious. We need scrutiny. Because unfortunately, we have seen in the last few months that this government took so many freedom of acting and spending thousands, billions of dollars without any consentment before, and we have seen the creation of the We Charity scandal. So we have a job to do, we intend to do it, we're ready to work on Sunday. Whatever other people think, this is what we want.
There's an element of the bill that gives the government extended spending powers again, like they tried to do way back at the outset of this crisis. What is your position on that particular piece?
Well, obviously we will scrutiny, we will work correctly to be sure that this situation will be addressed, and this situation will be addressed correctly. And so we are very careful. This is why we want to have that kind of discussion. We welcome each and every minister who are directly involved in that situation. We are discussing with our counterparts, and we intend to have a good result for Canadians. Us, as a Conservative, we work for Canadians. We have a job to do as parliamentarian. We propose that, and we are sure that Canadians will win with this proposal.
Can I ask one more? Yeah, okay. I guess this is a scrum, so I can, in theory, just keep going. So, you know, as part of this legislation, the NDP had said, you know, they wanted a transition from CERB to EI that would be equal to the CERB had been. They wanted paid sick leave. What do you want? What is the Conservatives' position on these new benefit programs? What would you like to see happen?
Well, we will see. Obviously, everybody noticed that after the throne of speech, the NDP leader asked for 2 demands. And by miracle, those 2 demands are inside the bill who has been tabled a few hours later. I mean, I know that the civil servants are very efficient, but I think they had some indication that it could contain that. Anyway, this is not the point. The point is that this is exactly why we are asking a committee on the whole. Why we are asking top cabinet minister answering questions, giving details, and going deep in the procedure to be sure that Canadians will win with this bill. And if not, well, we have this is what democracy is all about. We will vote, and then you will have a vote, and then we will see where everybody stands.
What's the distinction in your mind between doing it over the weekend as opposed to just doing it in a parliamentary sitting next week?
Well, because as you know, thanks to the government own agenda, those are the ones who adopt some rules saying that you have shut down on September the 30th. Those are the ones who decided to kill the former parliament 6 weeks ago for absolutely nothing. Those are the ones who decided to recreate a brand new parliament with the throne of speech, which has absolutely nothing before, and which was, by the way, another liberal promises broken. So the Liberals are responsible for this situation. Obviously, we have to address it correctly. We have to address it before a few days, but we have to do it correctly. And it's not a way because, when we see people have not doing well their job, that we have to do like them. We want to work for Canadians, and this opportunity that we propose to our counterparts is to be sure that as parliamentarians, we are working for Canadians, we take government for account, and we will ask tough questions to top cabinet minister to be sure that truth will get out.
I'll check one more time if there's any more questions on the phone. Operator?
We have a question from Marie Vastel du Devoir. À vous la parole. Please go ahead.
Bonjour, M. Deltell.
Bonjour.
J'aimerais revenir sur la substance du projet de loi C2. Je comprends bien qu'il y a beaucoup d'argent qui serait autorisé, puis c'est quelque chose que vous voulez étudier plus en profondeur. Mais sur les prestations qui sont promises, les 3 prestations pour succéder à la PCU, offrir un congé maladie, offrir un congé pour les gens qui s'occupent d'un enfant ou d'un proche qui a besoin qu'on s'occupe de lui. Sur ces éléments-là du projet de loi, est-ce que vous êtes d'accord? Est-ce que vous avez une opinion là-dessus?
Ben, c'est pour ça que, justement, on veut qu'il y ait un comité plénier qui se tienne en fin de semaine pour poser les questions précises aux ministres responsables pour qu'on puisse se faire une tête avec tous les éléments d'information que les gouvernements et que les ministres vont pouvoir nous donner pour, après ça, qu'on puisse en discuter au caucus et prendre une décision. Comme vous le savez, nous, on a vraiment l'ouverture par rapport à l'aide directe aux Canadiens, mais encore faut-il que cette aide-là ne soit pas de l'argent que l'on lance comme ça à tout va, mais bien plutôt, précisément, va aider les Canadiens. Et on a vu malheureusement des dérives avec certains programmes qui étaient basés sur de la bonne volonté, mais on a vu des dérives au cours de l'été et on ne veut pas que ça se reproduise. Donc, le débat, et c'est pour ça justement qu'on tient absolument à avoir un débat, puis on passera la journée de dimanche s'il faut. On tient absolument à avoir le débat, on passera la journée de dimanche s'il faut, mais il faut aller au fond des choses. On ne peut plus permettre au gouvernement d'agir comme il l'entend. On a vu ce que ça a donné au cours des derniers mois.
Oui, j'ai bien compris, comme vous l'avez si bien répété, que vous voulez poser des questions au ministre, mais vous dites, on a vu dans le passé avec des prestations qu'il y avait des dérives, vous voulez poser des questions au ministre. J'essaie juste de comprendre quelles sont les questions que vous posez sur les prestations, sur le contenu plus menu du projet de loi.
Nos équipes sont en train de travailler là-dessus, puis on a déjà détecté certaines choses, et sans vouloir rien vous enlever, c'est ce pourquoi nous travaillons et nous voulons que les questions soient posées directement au ministre lors du comité plénier. Et quand vous parlez justement des dérives, ben écoutez, tout le monde était de bonne volonté dans l'histoire de la PCU au départ, mais le problème, c'est parce qu'il y avait strictement rien qui a été réglé en cours de route, alors que ça aurait très bien pu être fait. Et malheureusement, l'histoire nous a appris qu'il faut faire très attention lorsque le gouvernement libéral propose quelque chose. On l'a vu encore lors du discours du trône, des annonces, des milliards de dollars, mais strictement aucun contrôle. On ne peut pas continuer à agir comme ça. Il faut être sérieux dans notre démarche, et c'est ce que nous entendons de faire dimanche prochain, si par bonheur, tous les partis s'entendent pour avoir ce comité plénier.
Marie,
donc,
est-ce que tu as
ça devrait bien aller. Merci.